And today, I'd like to introduce Michell Stark from Matana's Hope, and she started a group in Africa that takes care of hundreds of kids, which is really great because they need some help. So I'd like to introduce Michell, and Michell, could you say hi?
Hi.
And could you tell us what you do?
Yeah, okay. So in 2005, my family planned a trip to go to Kenya, East Africa. It's one of my parents' favorite places in the world, and they wanted to travel to celebrate my dad's 70th birthday. I was fortunate in that they brought myself and my son along for that journey. Yeah. Little did I know how I was to be used when I was there, and I'm only speaking of beautiful ways. We, aside from going on safaris, which were most of the trip, we focused some of our time in seeing the life of Kenyans. We were traveling with our kids, and we thought it would be great to go to schools. We ended up going to a school called Matana's Primary. It was a day school, much like the schools that our kids go to here, you know, being that a child leaves in the morning and arrives home in the afternoon, but in every other way, completely different. These children walk miles to school. They're barefooted. They have oftentimes spent their night awake, wanting to sleep, but unable because they're sleeping on cold dirt floors. They're hungry. Hunger prevents them from sleeping. And then they start their morning, again, without something to eat and needing to walk miles to school. When they get there, they're exhausted, they're hungry, they're lethargic. I'm sure everybody knows what
Sure.
it is to skip a meal.
Now, Michell, where are the parents? What happened to a lot of these kids' parents?
Some of these kids' parents have perished because of the HIV/AIDS virus.
Uh-huh.
Others are just incredibly poor. They work on what they call the shamba. They work on other people's shambas, which is a farm. But what's not understood is that in this particular area, in this region of Africa, of Kenya,
Uh-huh.
it's so arid that it gets stricken by intense drought. So how can you work on a farm when there's no water to grow a plant?
Yeah.
So there's no jobs. If there's no jobs, there's no food.
So how do most of them survive?
Because God keeps their bodies alive.
Just somehow. Is water a problem?
Yeah, water's a huge problem. These kids have to, well, that's part of what I was going to say is after school. You know, our kids come home and we might have planned for them soccer or gymnastics or whatever. But aside from the plan, they have TV, they have their game things, and then they go on to dinner. Our kids come home from school after walking, let's say, 5 miles to get home barefooted and still hungry. They get home only to have to go collect water from the rivers. And that's if they're lucky, because during droughts, that water, I mean, what happens during a drought? The water evaporates into the air, and if there's no rains to replace it, that water's gone.
What do these kids need more? What are some of the things that the kids need? What is a list of them?
The first focus of what we're doing is education, because the truth is if you're hungry and I give you lunch, what happens tomorrow?
Still hungry.
If you have no clothes and no shoes and I give you clothing and shoes, what happens when they wear out?
Sure.
So we recognize that our children need blankets if they're going to be warm at night, preferably mattresses and blankets. We recognize that our kids need shoes if they're going to walk comfortably over thorns. We recognize that they need fresh, clean drinking water if they're going to be without bacteria that causes diseases that kill them. And they need food if they're going to enrich their brains with the biochemical availability so that they can learn. But without knowledge, what
It
do we
goes
do?
nowhere, right?
So the first gift that we bring to them is the knowledge through sponsorship. We send these kids to school. We give them the opportunity to maximize the ability that they've been gifted with. Every one of us, even here, is gifted with something unique to us.
How safe are you afraid? Are there wars? Civil
Never.
war?
I'm
Anything?
so protected there.
Yeah.
I'm so protected and so loved. And so is everyone that travels with us. The things that happen in these communities sometimes astound me. I mean,
It's okay. That's all right. So you have how many kids do you have right now that you're helping out? And it's primarily kids, is that right?
It's nursery school through university. So our oldest now it's a really neat story actually. Our oldest now came to us through the word of a teacher who I absolutely adore, wrote to me and said, listen, Michelle, I've got this teacher. She used to work with us for her internship after teaching college. And there were no jobs to be had as a teacher, so she went back off to her village. Now, in her particular region, in her village, for a woman, the only thing that a woman is able to do aside from marry and breed, would be to become a teacher. She really didn't want to be a teacher, but she didn't want to get stuck in that trap of only marrying and breeding without selecting a husband she loved. So she became a teacher. Now there's no hope for that. She really wanted to work in the airlines. Now there's an opening. And he called and she wrote and she said, you know, this has been my dream. It's been my lifelong dream to always do this. And there's an opening, and we checked out the opening, and it's really legit. We have an amazing scholarship program, and we were able to grant her a full scholarship to go to this program. She's in school now. She's constantly writing, thanking us for hearing her plea.
Sure. Boy, now you're gonna get me a little choked up. So I gotta. What can folks do? I mean, there's so many places all over the world, and I guess there's so many places where people need help, and you find a lot of people basically sitting around the coffee table talking, well, yeah, I want to help, but it seems like you've kind of devoted yourself. You're the conduit for this effort. And what can folks do to give you a hand? Can they ship you blankets? Can they send you money? What do you think, in some small way, what do you think folks can do? Have you set up some kind of a charitable fund?
Yeah, of course.
So how does that work?
Well, what I've discovered is that a lot of people really love giving. They love giving things. It seems to be our culture loves to put their hands on something and say, this is what I'm doing. I see what I'm giving. I know it's going, and I know it's helping. One of the things that we like to encourage people to do is that if your heart speaks to you in a way where you want to give a blanket and you want to know that there is a child somewhere in this world that will really sleep with a blanket the moment they get it versus sleeping on a dirt floor, we thank you for that part of your heart. We ask that you would consider giving between $10 and $20 when you give that blanket, so that we have the means to get that blanket from here to Kenya. Because luggage, for us to pack a 50-pound bag and take it from here to Kenya is going to cost us between $150 and $250. Okay. So if we're not to take that money away from a child's education, then we need that help as well. But the most important help that we truly need is for you to join hands with ours, for you to find that part of your heart that hears our story, that trusts and knows that we are truly going and saving these kids. Call me, talk to me. I know the kids' stories.
And the money's not going sideways.
No. In fact, I refuse. We manage this money. We go, we send it to the school. We don't even give it to parents. Because truth be told, if a parent's hungry and a parent's illiterate, do you really think that money will get used to send a child to school?
So what is the address? Folks can get a hold of you.
Sure. This is my card. You can reach us at 708-822-HOPE, HOPE, which is 4673. Okay. Our website is www.matanyashope.org, and our P.O. Box is P.O. Box 562, Homewood, Illinois, 60430.
Thank you for sharing your time.
Thank you.
Let's hope some people see this.
Thank you.